The scripture reading this morning is from the book of Luke, chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. After Jesus had finished all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. A centurion there had a slave whom he valued highly, and who was ill and close to death. When he heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to him, asking him to come and heal his slave. When they came to Jesus, they appealed to him earnestly, saying, "He is worthy of having you do this for him, for he loves our people, and it is he who built our synagogue for us." And Jesus went with them. But when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to say to him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore, I did not presume to come to you. But only speak the word and let my servant be healed. For I also am a man set under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my slave, 'Do this,' and the slave does it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him. And turning to the crowd that followed him, he said, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." When those who had been sent in returned to the house, they found the slave in good health. The word of the Lord.
Author Thomas Fleming writes a little vignette of his father who back in the 1940s in Jersey City, his father had to go to work right out of grammar school, and his father worked in a watch factory owned by the Blaine family. And his father told him this story, and Thomas never forgot because of what happened to him when he witnessed this. And I quote because his writing is superb. "Each morning they opened the factory doors and we filed in one by one. Sitting there behind a desk would be a high-collared clerk. You'd get in front of the desk and he'd ask you, 'Protestant or Catholic?' And if anyone answered Catholic, he was told, 'No openings today.' But if you were Protestant in the 1940s, you were handed a slip and told to report to a certain section for work. And like many other immigrant Catholics in line, I gritted my teeth," his father said, "and I said, as a Catholic, Protestant." Because we needed the money badly. The Blaine family held the social and political dominance in Jersey City with a vengeance. Gradually, in a long and bitter battle in the ballot box, tables turned, and many like the Blaine family members were reduced to poverty, including old Mr. Bain's son. But one day, in the late 40s, writes Fleming, remembering the day well, a man in a frayed coat with stains on it came up the icy walk to their house to see his father. His father came downstairs, held out his hand, and said, "Nice to see you, Mr. Blaine. What can I do for you?" "Mr. Fleming, I need a job. I don't know whether you can help me. I don't know whether you want to help me. I know my family has not been good to yours in the past." And there was a silence for a moment. Here, if ever, was the perfect moment for revenge. How easily my father could have evened the scores for the days of humiliation in the watch factory by throwing the man out of the house right then and there. And at this same moment, I realized that I wanted my father to do just that. Even the score, Dad. In the most savage, burning way, I wanted to taste revenge. Now ask him, Dad, Protestant or Catholic, Mr. Blaine, I thought secretly. Instead, my father's voice was steady and calm. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Blaine? What kind of work do you do? With 5 minutes of matter-of-fact kindness, my father had healed the wound of years and proved to me the ready power of God. Let's square this story, the small s, of the Fleming and Blaine family, with Luke's story of Jesus and the centurion, the big S story. Both the centurion and Mr. Blaine are outsiders offering good news to insiders. One of the main themes of the Gospel of Luke is very often the outsider brings good news to the insider. And so here the outsider offers a lesson of humility, of trust, of forgiveness, of openness to the insider. Notice also in these two stories the understanding of power. The centurion and Mr. Blaine are used to conventional styles of power, conventional understanding. Power over. Even if the centurion used his power well, it was still power over. I tell my servant, come, he comes. I tell him, go, he goes. Power over. Power above. Notice Jesus' power. Notice Mr. Fleming's power. Power from below. Power with. Shared power that heals. Both stories depend heavily upon love and magnanimity. Love from the person who once lorded power over them. As good as this centurion was, he also represented Rome. He was a Gentile talking to Jews. And so when Jesus said to his own little faith community and followers, look at the outsider's faith. Don't think the insiders said, oh, good for you, Jesus. Yeah, we would have missed that had you not pointed it out. No. They were like the son, Mr. Fleming's son, saying, even the score, Jesus. Tell them, whoa, you're a Gentile. We're Jews. You have it over us. Now, before I heal your servant, let me tell you a few lessons. Not Jesus. Not Jesus. He narrowed his focus to love and to healing and to forgiveness and to goodness. And he set out to heal the servant. In both these stories, we see people receiving love, not after correction, not after humiliation, not after we even the score, but before. We're reminded in today's gospel that the best of us can make mistakes, and the worst of us can do good. Jesus took a risk when he said to his own group, look at the faith of the outsider. It's tough. It's very tough for us to follow a teacher or a parent or a loved one and they praise our enemy or they praise someone who hurt us. We too want to say, no. Even the score. At least teach him a lesson. Jesus says, let love teach the lesson. Let love teach the lesson. Let's heal the servant. We're not told what happened to the centurion. But imagine being in the presence of such love. I remember first having an inkling of this type of magnanimity in my life. I was about 14 years old in high school, and I was betrayed by a very good friend. And I remember wanting revenge. I wouldn't have done anything to her, but I was looking to see where the runner would stumble so that I could somehow feel satisfied that her wrongdoing was punished. But I had a mentor. I had a teacher. I had a mother-like figure in my life, Sister Teresa. And she said to me when she could taste my revenge, she said, Patricia, you who are thinking of entering the convent next year, you who love God, you who want to know how much do I love God? She said to me, and I'll never forget, and I can almost hear her voice as I tell you, Patricia, the measure of your love for God is the love that you have for the person you like the least. Excuse me? The measure of your love for God is the love that you have for the person you love the least. It's been over 50 years since I've heard these words. I didn't quite understand them then. I understand them more and more and more in these past 50 years. Also, for the first time in my life, there is someone that makes this saying so challenging for me. And I just repeat it and just want my heart to open. The measure of your love for God, Patricia, is the love that you have for this person right here. Bless them, send them light, wish them well. My teacher understood betrayal and she validated my feelings of anger at the time. Nonetheless, she called me to more. As Jesus was calling the followers in his time, they were calling him to more. We will heal those outside of our little community. We will not put the Jews here, the Gentiles here. This love of which I speak that comes directly from the divine power is for everybody. Everybody. Those we demonize, those we ostracize, those we push into a little box. God's love is for everyone. Periodically throughout my life, whenever I feel tempted to quickly dismiss a person who hurt me, or when I simply organize my life in such a way that I just avoid the person. I don't do any wrong, I just don't do any good. And I claim not to live up to this challenge by Mother Teresa all the time, but I hold it ever before me and I share it with you because there are times in our lives when we've had to respond in love to very difficult situations. And it's made all the difference in the world to the people that receive the love, but to us as well. Some of you perhaps know what I'm talking about. You experience when you love just beyond what you think you're capable of loving, you experience this peace and this freedom and this energy that makes you want to be in that stance more often. And so I share this with you, my friends, because I think we gather every week in order that we might transform ourselves into love. Just love. And that takes a lot of letting go. It takes a lot of loosening the grip on the necks of those we don't like. It doesn't mean that we have to look for the people we don't like in order to exercise this virtue, but it does mean, however, is that if we are at a crossroads between the law and love, we are to always choose love. Because the measure of our love for God, the measure of our spiritual depth, our spiritual maturity, is the love we have for the person we like the least. This is our natural way of being in the world. Love. It's incidences and circumstances and experiences in life that have pulled us away from this natural stance that we have. Nobody comes out of the womb bitter and incapable of pure love. But life can harden us. And Jesus is asking, loosen up, soften up, give people a chance, give them the benefit of the doubt, and sprinkle this divine love on everybody you meet. And so you may ask, is this really possible, Patricia? This brother or sister or child that I've been estranged from for years, can I actually just shower them with love? And you don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything, just love. Just let go. Just love. Can it be done with neighbors and co-workers? Yeah, a little harder, but just love. Can it be done with members of the church? Give it a try. Just love. I don't have the answer for how you're going to get to that point or when you're going to get to that point, but I do know this for sure. The God in whom we place our trust depends on us who call ourselves into spiritual community. This God depends on us to love, simply love. And if we love, I remember a saying from the book, The Prophet. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to do these 10 things and then you grow in love. You just have to love, because love, seek not to direct the course of love. For love, if it finds you worthy, will direct your course.